2016 will go down as the hottest year on record, and the North and South Poles can't handle the heat. Climate scientists say polar sea ice the size of India has disappeared. That's about as big as 2 Alaskas. Now the amount of sea ice at the poles is at a record low for the season. CBS News contributor and theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku joins me now. It's nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
All right.
So first of all, let's just start with explaining what sea ice is and why this is so significant, the melting of it.
Well, if you're thinking about buying beachfront property anytime soon, you may want to think twice, because sea levels are going to start to rise for 2 reasons. First of all, the Earth is heating up, as you said, and water expands when it gets warmer. That causes sea level rise. But second of all, and this new study is quite damaging, the size of the North and polar cap regions are shrinking to the tune of twice the size of Alaska. And that water has to go someplace. And it's going to wind up in somebody's living room in the future. In fact, it's projected that in the coming decades, sea levels could rise maybe 3 feet, perhaps maybe even 10 feet by the end of this century. Where we are standing right now could be underwater.
In less than half a century.
That's right. Again, these numbers depend upon which computer studies you use, which assumptions you make. But most of the studies are converging on the fact that A, the Earth is heating up, B, the ice caps are beginning to melt and crack, even the South Pole is beginning to crack, and 3, that means that water's got to go someplace, and it could wind up in someone's living room.
Let me read you this statistic, because I think this is staggering. The National Snow and Ice Data Center says the amount of sea ice at the poles is almost 1.5 million square miles less than its 1981-2010 average. So did it just melt really quickly in the past few years? Are we just noticing this now?
Well, if you take a look at submarines that went to the North Pole 50 years ago, like the Nautilus, and then compare it with the results of today, we find that the ice has actually decreased by 50% in the last 50 years. I mean, think about that. That means that in our lifetime, we're actually seeing the melting of the polar ice region. And by satellites, you can see that in summer times, there is no more North Polar ice caps.
Right.
And so kids in the future will say that Santa Claus is obviously a myth because there is no North Pole for Santa Claus to live and make all the toys.
How about the area around the South Pole? Because it has steadily been getting warmer, but there was a time when it was getting colder. What happened?
That's right. Some of the skeptics say, bah, humbug. Look at the South Polar region. It's actually getting colder, not warmer. But we think we know the reason why. There is the polar vortex. That is a hurricane, literally a cold hurricane over the North Pole and the South Pole. And we think that the polar vortex in the South Pole prevented warmer air from coming in. And that's temporary, because now even the South Pole is beginning to look like the North Pole, i.e. it's beginning to get smaller and temperatures are rising just as we would expect.
So what does that mean for the rest of the world if the South Pole continues to get warmer?
First of all, it means that storms are going to be much more severe. The latest study I saw shows that the ferocity of storms could be 5 times what it has been historically. So think of the worst storm of the past year, the worst storm, multiply that by 5. And that's what winters are going to be like. Second of all, if you're near the oceans, and even though you don't have a hurricane, simple storms and nor'easters could throw water, paralyzing the subway system, paralyzing mass transit. So even if your city is above water, it means that water could definitely overflow into your living room in case there's a very bad storm, which will be more fierce and more common in the future. So the so-called 100-year storms, we're going to see them much more frequently.
Is any of this alarming to you, or just something that scientists have been warning of for a long time?
Well, you know, I used to be a skeptic. I used to say, come on, humbug. The Earth is so big, we're so small. How can humans constantly change the weather? But it's happening now in our lifetimes. All the indicators are pointing up, showing that temperatures are rising, glaciers are receding. Summertime is a week longer than normal. Every farmer knows that. Mosquitoes are going north because of the heating of the planet Earth. So it means that tropical diseases are also going to spread north. All the indicators are going northward.
Such as Zika, right?
Yeah, that's why I stopped being a skeptic and I began to realize that human activity really is driving this global warming.
All right. Such staggering statistics, all of it. Thank you so much, Dr. Michio Kaku. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Are you serious? 21 fireballs were in the sky last night, coming through our atmosphere, spotted and reported around the globe. But what was even more crazier, we had 3 asteroids go by the Earth, near Earth objects, and one literally gave me a haircut. It was only 0.4 lunar distance from the Earth. In other words, about 120,000 miles, about 100,000 miles, right in that range. It was a small rock. It was only 6 meters. We didn't even know about it. They told us about it just a few hours before it got here. Now, there was 2 other asteroids as well, but that one that got real close yesterday was 2017 DG16. Newly discovered just a few hours before it went whizzing by. Today we have 3 asteroids, 3 that are going to go by the Earth. 1992 FE, 2017 CP1, and 1998 QK56. But the one that's the closest is the newest one, just discovered, 2017 CP1. It's going to go by the Earth. It's a big rock. It's 52 meters. I mean, this is a big rock, okay? But it's going to go by the Earth, 3.6 lunar distance. Not going to hit us, about 1 million miles away. Not going to hit us. But again, near-Earth objects are increasing. Fireballs are increasing. And the notification we're getting from NASA about these asteroids are becoming more and more and more frequent. So you can go look at the chart today and say, I don't have to worry, there's no asteroid scheduled for the next 2 days. But in the next 3 hours, they may spot one that's going to go razor thin close. What? That's what I'm trying to say. The heavens are shaking. The Bible says they're going to shake. It's going to shake, and the stars are going to fall from the heavens like a fig tree cast its untimely figs when it's shaken of a mighty wind. So what I'm saying is, we're living in the last days, and the biblical narrative, the biblical prophecies of the last days are definitely playing out in every area, whether it's wars and rumors of wars, signs in the heavens, earthquakes. This is a crazy. Here's one for you. Today's guest, scientific researcher Ken Jensen. We've had him scheduled for almost a week. He lives in Vancouver Island, Vancouver Island, Canada. A couple hours ago, they just had an earthquake there, right where he's at, 4.9. Nothing like a little apocalyptic shakeup before he comes on our show. Let's hope that I don't have any problems with his internet or phone lines, all right? So we'll be talking to you guys. I'll see you at 12 noon Eastern at my website at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. Are you serious? What? Are you serious? Are you serious? Ring of fire! Well, that's what's going to happen tomorrow night, February 26th. If you're in the southern hemisphere, if you're like in Argentina or Chile or Angola, you'll be able to see it. If you're in Antarctica, you will get the absolute perfect view. Could be no better place. And is that why all the world leaders are going to Antarctica? Are they going there so that during the solar eclipse, they'll be able to look when the sun is being darkened by the moon, they'll be able to see planet X just behind the sun. The planet X should appear somewhere like right in here, okay? And by having this solar eclipse, it will give them the opportunity to get the telescope directly on it and get a beautiful, perfect view without sun pollution, all the light coming from the sun. Now, this is not going to be a total solar eclipse. This is known as an angular solar eclipse. That means the moon is too far away from the earth, so it's not able to cover the entire sun, and instead we will leave a ring of fire. Now, August 21st, there will be a total eclipse of the sun that will be seen visible from America, and will be the first time it is seen perfectly from America in 40 years. That's coming up August 21st. We'll talk about that later. But BP Earthwatch is going to join me tomorrow night on Sunday Night Live. Sunday Night Live. And of course, he's talking about Jupiter. He's talking about the 61 moons that go around Jupiter, one of which is named Nibiru. some of the ancient documentation. So I guess the question is, I mean, are we going to get a glimpse of Planet X, Planet 7X, Nibiru, the dwarf star, planet number 9? Call it what you want to call it. Is this why all the world leaders have been going to Antarctica? Because it's during this solar eclipse that they will finally get a real strong read on the mysterious Planet X. Well, we'll see. We'll talk to BP Earthwatch about it. And, of course, he has been keeping a close eye, and he's out ahead of most scientists in analyzing how Jupiter, the binary system, and its moons that surround it could be where Planet X and all this gravitational pull is. All right. Now, the Bible talks about the constellation of Orion, and we know that some astronomers have already said they've seen Planet X from our observatories in Chile, and that it was in the direction of Orion. And even God said to Job, who can loose the bands of Orion? So anyway, there's a lot we're looking at here, okay? Don't miss tomorrow night, Sunday Night Live. Sunday Night Live starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. It will be a great show. BP Earthwatch will join me. We will get live video feed and show it to you, hopefully, of this eclipse. And what else will we see? Are you serious? Are you saved? The Bible said in the last days there will be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. And we might have all three tomorrow night as an apocalyptic sign of the end times. Give your life to Jesus Christ. He's coming soon.